Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equity Story. Just having a look at the ASX 200. I think that obviously there's a lot of weakness in some of the major players like BHP and Woolworths, and it pulled our market down a little bit. So, unlike the Dow, we didn't have a green day, but we came and sort of bounced off that sort of swing high pretty nicely. So, I think all's not lost, and obviously we'll be watching the Dow pretty closely tonight. As you can see, the Dow did have a sort of a pretty decent green day. Looks like the Dow's just sort of maybe a few days sideways before it makes an attack on that sort of 20,000 level. But certainly we still look at the Dow as seeing it's looking very, very bullish. You know, it's interesting. Just look at those volumes there. These volumes are very, very strong. I haven't seen such consistent volumes for a while. And obviously, you know, with Yellen sort of being a bit more bullish on these interest rates going up, I think you're seeing a lot more people leaving the bond market. So it's absolutely fascinating, and I think the way things are looking, this move is got a lot further to go. Just having a quick look at the weekly buy and sell signals. They're absolutely excellent, actually. I think the ASX this week, ASX 200, was down 0.85%. And we had 8 of our 14 stocks in the green, and some of those obviously did very, very well. Like I think ORA, rather than being 0.85% down, we're actually trending this one at the moment. It ended the week up about sort of, just check here, I think it was up about just under 5%, which I think is sort of absolutely stunning. 4.24%. Obviously, SGM as well outperformed the market. Was up the week, I think roughly around 1.25%. RFG again, we're trending this one at the moment. It's got a great little buy signal, so this should go even harder next week. On this one we're up about sort of 4% for the week. Absolute stunning performance. CGC again, in a week the market was down 0.85%. This company was up about 2.11% by the end of the week. At one stage, obviously, it was up a little bit higher. NAB was obviously again in the green for us. I'll just show you something more about the banks in a second. And again, sort of Bank of Queensland held up really well, as did ANZ, and obviously ANN had a big move up earlier in the week, as did AWC, and then they sort of more or less settled back to where they opened the week. But again, those sort of weekly bullish signals doing brilliantly. NWH ended the week up about 3%, looking very, very bullish. Again, to do with obviously their recovery in the iron ore market, it's doing very well. BAP was up, ended the week up and holding above that sort of bullish happy line, that red one, so it looks excellent. Dow ended the week down, but originally had a good move up, and still looks extremely bullish. As does ARB. Again, this ended the week in the green, and it looks very, very bullish. Went for that buy signal very nicely, and for me, it looks like it's got further to go. And just looking at obviously at those sort of weekly buy and sell signals, I think it won't be long before we take some money out of ORA. It won't be long before we take money out of RFG and NAB, and I think if we have a good week next week, it'd be interesting to see how BAP and Hansen do. So I'm sort of pretty much okay with those sort of trending stocks. Obviously, the talk of the town is gold at the moment, and we've had good success out of trading these stocks over the last year. Looks like arguably we could have possibly cut these when they had a fall. We're a little bit under the impression at the time these were going to bounce back a little bit quicker. At the moment, we just believe this price action on gold is just a bit of a head shake. We're very, very bullish on gold. We chart gold. If you actually chart it in a pure form, it needs to sort of, I think, have this little dip under 1,000 before gold possibly eventually makes a really stronger move up. Back up towards that sort of 2,000 mark. We see, obviously Trump's going to be spending a lot of money on infrastructure. It's going to create a lot more jobs in the States. It's going to create more inflation. You've got the collapse happening in Europe. There's a lot of issues for gold to do very, very well next year. But I think we're just got to have this head shake, and mainly sort of the important thing is certainly not to panic. Um, and sometimes you just got to put it. Just thought I'd show you that actually. This is it shows you that gold is still on a fairly sort of gold companies on a fairly bullish run. This is evolution on a monthly chart. Yeah, if you looked at that on a monthly chart, you obviously it's just got, you can see that's there's no issues there, and you can look at Northern Star again. It's pretty normal, really chart pattern. The way it had quite a big run up and coming back, and if you look at gold as well, here's your gold price now, 1,537. Now Evolution next year will be making 400 million. It's on a P of 6. If gold goes down further, we're expecting obviously the American dollar. It'll be a lot to do with the strength of the American dollar, and our Aussie dollar will go down. So somewhere around this sort of 1,537, maybe 1,400. I can't see the Aussie gold going down much below that. And Northern Star and Evolution at these sort of numbers are making incredible money. Eventually, when gold does turn, well, the money that Evolution and Northern Star are going to be making is incredible. So, it's hard to trend gold, but what we're going to do, we like these stories, and maybe somewhere down here, if they go a little bit lower with the gold price, well, we just might take these stocks off hold and buy some more. It's the way we prefer to trade gold, and although I think with Evolution and Northern Star we're not going to make 10% or 5% pretty quickly, but I think we'll make 20% this year on these trends and these stories. It's just going to take us a little bit longer. What else I'd like to talk about very, very quickly, I just got up here, so I just changed this chart back to a daily. Obviously, here we go. Most of the sort of 3-year growth stories are doing pretty well. And good to see we're talking about Somnomed looking sort of really bullish, and again having a nice little move up today. And Rural Funds looking pretty strong, and nice to see that new one we put on, KSL, up 1.4%, and again getting quite a little bit of sort of solid buying behind it. And one stock I just want to talk about, Mayne Pharma. They had a little bit of issue today. Obviously, you can see the share price been a little bit shaky recently. Great buying opportunity. I had a chat with Cobbetts about this today. Mayne Pharma came out and said, this issue in the States, I don't believe is going to affect their earnings at all. And this little fall, anything under 120, well, this is why there's a lot of fear at the moment, and people just seem to press the trigger. And you often wonder why nearly, I think, most fund managers are losing money today, because I think the way they're trading, they're complete idiots. This is a fantastic story. It's got fantastic growth potential, and some clever people here obviously buying this early today when it had this little bit of a fall. And Mayne Pharma, I think around these sort of watch it. I think if it goes back down anywhere near these levels and you haven't got any, I think it wouldn't be a bad stock to start accumulating some stock. I think we've got this on a FY sort of 17p of about 16%, which for a strong growth story is I think pretty exceptional. That's really all I've got to talk about tonight in Equity Story. Well, I think we'll be taking some trending profits next week. We've got plenty of actually sort of 10 baggers we're looking at. I'm not putting them on at the moment, simply because I think just the general attitude at the moment towards microcaps across the board is just not there. But we'll be watching the microcap market, and when we see that sort of sentiment change in the sector, we'll certainly start adding some more and putting some on. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for listening to Equity Story, and have a good weekend. Thank you. Good night.